Welcome back, dear students. This video is for class 10 subject science chapter 3 metals and non-metals lecture number 5. So let us see today's content. In the previous lecture we have done the concentration of ores. In this lecture we will see the extraction of metals from the concentrated ores, refining of metals. Then we will have the homework of this lecture, and at the end we will do the solutions of homework questions given in lecture number 4. So let us begin with our extraction of metals. So as we know that metals, they are extracted from the concentrated ores. So according to the reactivity series, we have grouped the metals into 4 categories: metals of very low reactivity, metals of low reactivity, metals of moderate reactivity, and metals of high reactivity. So let us start by extracting metals of very low reactivity. So metals such as platinum, gold, silver, they show least reactivity, and that is why these metals occur in free state in nature. So these metals are obtained by simple physical separation methods. The heavier metal particles are separated from the sand by hydraulic washing method, and the metals like silver, gold are also recovered from the powdered ores by special chemical methods. Then extraction of metals of low reactivity. Less reactive metals such as mercury, copper, lead, they can be reduced by heating, and that is why this process is called reduction method. When sulfide ores of these metals are heated in air, a part of ore get oxidized to oxide. So as you can see that further this metal oxide reacts with the remaining sulfide ore to give metal and sulfur dioxide. So here we have an example of cinnabar, that is sulfide ore of mercury. When it reacts with oxygen, it produces mercuric oxide and sulfur dioxide. Further, this mercuric oxide reacts with the remaining sulfide ore and it gives mercury and sulfur dioxide. Then we have extraction of metals of moderate reactivity. Metals in the middle of the reactivity series such as iron, zinc are moderately reactive. So these metals occur in nature as sulfides or carbonates. But it is easier to get metals from the oxides rather than sulfides and carbonates. Therefore, prior to reduction, these sulfides and carbonates are converted into metal oxides. This can be done by calcination and roasting. So let us see what is calcination. Calcination is the process of heating an ore strongly in the presence of very limited quantity of air, and it is done to convert a carbonate ore into oxide, to remove moisture from the wet hydrated ores, and to remove volatile impurities from the ore. For example, calamine, which is a carbonate ore of zinc, when it is strongly heated, it converts into zinc oxide and carbon dioxide. So during calcination, the ore becomes porous and dry because of the production of carbon dioxide. As you have seen that calamine decomposes to zinc and it has produced zinc oxide and carbon dioxide. Then we have roasting. Sulfide ores are converted to oxides by roasting. The process of heating an ore strongly below its melting point in the presence of excess air is called roasting. It is done to convert sulfide ores to oxide ores and to remove volatile impurities and moisture. For example, when zinc sulfide reacts with oxygen strongly heated, it gives ZnO, zinc oxide, and sulfur dioxide gas. When lead sulfide reacts with excess of air and strongly heated below its melting point, it gives lead oxide and sulfur dioxide. Then we have mercuric sulfide, that is cinnabar. reacts with oxygen and gives mercury and sulfur dioxide. Then how does this calcination differs from roasting? The first difference is during calcination, ore is heated in the presence of limited quantity of air, whereas during roasting, ore is heated in the presence of excess amount of air. The second difference is the air of calcination. This calcination process is used to convert carbonate ores into oxide ores, whereas roasting is used to convert sulfide ores into oxide ores. Then now we have metal oxides. Now we have to obtain the metals. So the first method is reduction by carbon. Now which metals can be reduced by carbon? The oxides of moderately reactive metals such as iron, nickel, copper, zinc, they can be reduced by heating with carbon at higher temperatures. So when a metal oxide is heated with carbon, it produces metal and carbon monoxide. For example, ferric oxide reacts with carbon, gives iron and carbon monoxide. Zinc oxide reacts with carbon and gives zinc and carbon monoxide. Then we see reduction by aluminium. Certain metals react with carbon to form compounds. Hence, now carbon cannot be used to reduce these kind of metals. That is why aluminium powder is used to reduce such metals like manganese dioxide, chromium oxide, ferric oxide. So when manganese dioxide reacts with aluminium powder, it produces manganese and aluminium oxide, and it also produces heat. Aluminium reduction method is also called aluminothermic process or thermite process. As these reactions are highly exothermic and metals are obtained in molten state, so these processes can also be used for welding purpose. What happens in a welding thermite process? A mixture of ferric oxide and aluminium powder, that is called thermite, is placed in a crucible having a plug-in hole in its bottom. Then a magnesium ribbon fuse is ignited into the mixture and the article to be welded is placed in a fire clay mold below the plug hole. When iron is reduced and because of the production of heat, this iron gets melted, and by the plug hole it comes down and goes to the broken pieces of the article. The broken ends of the iron piece actually melts and mix with the molten metal, giving a firm and strong weld. So this is how welding is done. Now, highly reactive metals, they cannot be obtained from their compounds by carbon reduction method. This is because these metals have more affinity for oxygen than carbon. The oxides and halides of most reactive metals such as sodium, potassium, magnesium, aluminium, they cannot be reduced by reducing agents as well. Now this is because the cations of highly reactive metals are very stable and cannot be reduced by common reducing agents. And that's why highly electropositive metals are obtained by electrolytic reduction method. In this method, cation of metal is reduced by passing electricity through molten oxide or hydroxide or chloride of the metal. During electrolytic reduction of molten salts, the corresponding metal is obtained at cathode, that is negative electrode. For example, let us do electrolytic reduction of sodium. So we have sodium chloride solution. First I want this solution to be in molten state. So that is why this solid sodium chloride is strongly heated and we have molten sodium chloride in which free ions of sodium and chlorine are present. At cathode, what happens? Sodium ion takes up the electron and reduces to sodium metal. At anode, chlorine ion, it gives away one electron and becomes chlorine. So net reaction becomes 2NaCl when electricity is passed through this molten sodium chloride then formation of sodium and chlorine gases. A gas takes place. Extraction of aluminium by electrolytic reduction of molten alumina. Another example of extraction by electrolytic reduction. So aluminium is obtained from alumina by electrolytic reduction method. Alumina does not conduct electricity in solid state. And it melts at a very high temperature. So this is a problem, that it melts at a very high temperature and cannot conduct electricity in solid form. Therefore, alumina is dissolved in molten cryolite containing a small quantity of fluorspar. A molten mixture of aluminium in cryolite, that is a fluoride ore of aluminium containing a small quantity of fluorspar, that is fluoride ore of calcium, is used as an electrolyte. Now cryolite is used as an electrolyte because it lowers the melting point of alumina, and it also makes electrolyte as a good conductor of electricity. So when electric current is passed through the electrolyte, aluminium metal is obtained at cathode while oxygen gets liberated at anode. So these are the reactions that take place at cathode and anode. Aluminium 3 plus gets 6 electrons and converts into 2Al. Actually 2Al3 plus. 2 molecules of Al3 plus gets 6 electrons and converts into 2Al. At anode 3O2 negative releases these 6 electrons and converts into 3/2 O2. Now we have obtained metals, but these metals obtained by the reduction process, they contain small quantities of various impurities. The process of removing impurities from the metal extracted from their ore is called refining of metals. Choice of refining metals depends on the nature of metals. Some of the common methods used for refining are described here. The first method is liquefaction method. This method is used for refining low melting metals such as tin, lead, bismuth. In this method, impure metal is placed on the sloping hearth. The temperature of the sloping hearth is raised slightly above the melting point of the metal, and molten metal flows down and the impurities are left behind on the hearth. You can see in this diagram that we have a furnace kind of arrangement. So here we put the extracted ore or metal, you can say, which is having some impurities. So when we are raising the temperature of this hearth, the metals they melt and come down in this container, and the impurities are left behind. The second method is distillation method. The more volatile metals such as mercury and zinc are purified by distillation method. In this method, the impure metal is heated in a retort. The pure metal distills over and the impurities are left behind. Then we have an important method, that is electrolytic refining method. Now most of the metals like copper, aluminium, chromium, silver are refined by electrolytic method of refining. Now a thick block of impure metal acts as anode and it is connected to the positive terminal. So remember, impure metal is working as anode and it is connected to the positive terminal. The thin sheet of pure metal acts as cathode. As we can see in this diagram, that we have a pure metal cathode and impure metal anode, which is connected to the positive terminal. So when electricity is passed through this, then the pure metal deposits on the cathode, and the impurities either they fall down in the solution or they fall below the anode, and that is why the impurities which fall below the anode are called anode mud. it is connected to the negative terminal of the battery, that is cathode. Aqueous solution of suitable salt of metal is used as electrolyte. On passing the current through the electrolyte, pure metal gets deposited on cathode and impure metal of the anode dissolves. Now these impurities either dissolve in the solution or below the anode as anode mud. Now I am giving you one question. You have to find out the difference between electrolytic reduction and carbon reduction. Think about this. Otherwise, I'll be telling you the answer in the next lecture. Now let us see today's homework. So today you have 3 questions. First question is, what chemical process is used for obtaining a metal from its oxide? Second, in the electrolytic refining of metal M, what would you take as anode, cathode and electrolyte? Third question, what is aluminothermic process? So this is the homework for today. Let us see the homework solution of lecture number 4. So lecture number 4, 3 or 4 questions were there. Question number 1 is, define the following term, mineral, ore and gangue. So minerals, the naturally occurring substances, compounds actually of metals. Compounds of metals with earthly materials are called minerals. Ores, the mineral from which metal can be conveniently and profitably extracted is called an ore. Gangue, ores usually contain large quantities of unwanted materials. Such unwanted earthly materials present in an ore is called gangue. Now let us see the second question. Name the 2 metals which are found in the nature in free state. And the answer is obviously the least reactive metals, gold, silver. You can also include platinum in this. So either of the 2 you can take. Question number 3 is, what chemical process is used for obtaining a metal from its oxide? And the answer is, reduction method is used to obtain metal from its oxide that we have seen today. Question number 4 is, metallic oxides of zinc, magnesium and copper were heated with the following metals. Now in which case you will find the displacement reaction taking place. So remember, displacement will happen according to the reactivity of the metals. So let us see what were the questions. In first case, when we are talking of magnesium, you can see here, okay, we'll talk about the 3 metals one by one. Magnesium is able to react with zinc oxide to form zinc metal. Copper will not displace zinc oxide because copper is less reactive than zinc. Then B part, magnesium oxide will not give displacement reaction with any of these because magnesium itself is more reactive than zinc and copper both. So magnesium cannot be replaced by any of 2. Then C part is, zinc and magnesium both can give displacement reaction with copper oxide, as zinc and magnesium both are more reactive than copper. So this is it for today. I hope this screen is visible to you properly. Yes. Is there any kind of doubt or problem, you can ask me in the comment box. So we'll be continuing this lecture in the next lecture. So till then, take care and bye bye.